Good morning, Fargo. My name is Tony Gehrig, Fargo City Commissioner. I'll be doing a recap for the May 8th meeting. I will get right into it because there were a lot of items for discussion. First item was a Renaissance zone exemption for a few businesses here in the city of Fargo around the downtown area. The only thing I want to speak to on this one is that I asked the owner of those businesses, would you still build your restaurant, your apartments, your whatever you were doing there with or without the exemption? And he said, yes, we would. That, to me, is a tax giveaway. If the exemption is not needed to make the project happen, and we're giving it to them anyway, then obviously we shouldn't be doing that. I have made this argument many, many times, but I want everyone here to know it is still happening. A bigger issue for this agenda, I think, was the Bison Meadows. It's a development on 70th Avenue South, right around there, kind of by the New Davies High School. It is a big open wide area now that can house, or that can be put about 400 homes. These homes were platted out to be affordable housing, that is to say anywhere in the range of $200,000 to $250,000 per. It was denied. It needed a super majority in order to get passed. We can get into that if you want. You can call me and ask me why that is, but we need a super majority, 4-to-1 vote. It ended up going down in a 2-to-3 vote. That it couldn't happen that way. This is disappointing to me because as commissioners, we all the time talk about why are there not more affordable houses in Fargo? Why are there so many apartments in the city of Fargo? Why are there so many homes that are being rented out instead of owned in the city of Fargo? I've got a clear answer for you now. The government. The government is making it impossible for developers to give us affordable housing because of this exact scenario. 400 good, quality, affordable homes to be placed in an area that is currently empty in South Fargo, and we as a city commission said no. There was a myriad of reasons that people would put forward. None of them held any water, in my opinion, and to me, affordable housing is one of the biggest issues in the city of Fargo, and if we as commissioners keep denying these type of developments, which, by the way, this is not the first time this has happened, if we keep denying these things, people who currently live in apartments will stay there. People who are moving to Fargo, 100 people a day, moving to Fargo, are moving into apartments. Why? There are no affordable housing, and the city of Fargo, the government of Fargo, is saying we want that to happen. So if any commissioners that voted against this come to you and say that we want affordable housing, Bison Meadows was denied in a 2-3 vote because we needed a supermajority. In a similar vein, NDSU Foundation has a large apartment complex planned right by the Fargo Dome. You may have seen the big empty lot there where there were homes currently. They were all owned by the foundation. They have received the zoning. They have in a 4-to-1 vote. They received the plat in a 4-to-1 vote, and now all they needed to do was get there was a alleyway behind all those houses that needs to be vacated by the city of Fargo. We just need to say we don't own that anymore. You guys can build your complex. In a 3-to-2 vote, because again we needed a supermajority, it went down, which means that this project will not happen the way it was happening before. It may not happen at all based on this. It was a striking reversal. In that area, we have a lot of homes that are rentals, and people complain about that, and I understand that. But if you deny these good projects, you're going to have more and more homes be bought up so that people can rent them because it's profitable, it makes sense, and people need a place to live. And by NDSU, that means good quality apartments in areas that make sense. So feel free to reach out to me and talk to me about those issues. Those were big hot button issues at the last meeting. There was a request by myself to look into the TIF policy. This has been mentioned in previous videos. Simply put, we've reviewed the pilots and Renaissance zones already. However that shook out, we had some changes going around. The state has made some changes to how we do our incentives. It is time to relook at the TIFs. Which is basically a loan that the city gives out to a developer to do X, Y, or Z. They pay back that loan through their property taxes. Instead of paying property taxes, they simply pay back the loan. This is the longest incentive policy that we have not looked at for the longest period of time, and it is time to now review that, make it make sense for 2017, and move forward from there. Hopefully we get a good outcome from that, but that was something that I pushed for and received. The State Water Commission. Now, I know when people hear that, they immediately glaze over, but what happens is that the City of Fargo and the Diversion Authority spend X amount of dollars. Some of that money, often half, is able to be refunded back to the city by the State Water Commission for certain projects. Once it comes to the City Commission and we vote on this, all we're doing is voting on whether or not we want to get reimbursed or not. We have commissioners now who are voting against this. They're trying to make a point that there are certain parts of the diversion that they don't like, mainly in Oxbow. And that's valid and that's fine. I'm okay with that. I agree with their sentiment in Oxbow for some of the bylaws we've done there. But to vote against this item on the agenda, it's called the State Water Commission request for cost reimbursement from the FN Diversion Water Project, cost totaling $3,666,000. If we vote no against that, all that happens is we don't get our money back. The projects that it funded are already done. They're already going forward. We simply don't get our money back. So it's the wrong way to protest, and we need to get that point across to people. It was brought forward at the City Commission meeting that we want to lease land. We want to lease parking areas for our new City Hall. Okay, the reason I voted no against this, it was a 4-to-1 vote. The reason I voted against this is because we have what's called the Link FM, and many of you know what that is. It's a bus that travels from Moorhead all around downtown and back to Moorhead. You're able to park your vehicle, Moorhead Center Mall for free, come downtown on that bus for free, do whatever you're going to do, and ride that back to Moorhead and get your car. I never liked this idea. I thought it was a bad idea. I thought it was maybe something we could try, but it didn't work out. Okay, very few people use this, but it was sold to us first and foremost as a way to alleviate parking for City Hall. We would say the employees can go over there, park there, come back, and all this construction that's going on around City Hall, it won't affect that because it's over in Moorhead. No one's using it, and to the extent that we need to lease more parking spots, hundreds of parking spots. Many of them are underground, which costs a lot of money. And so what I brought up at the meeting was, hey, the Link FM, either A, they use it, or B, we end it. It costs $50 an hour to run the Link FM. So it's money being wasted. It's money not being used properly. Transit can use those dollars more effectively. The city can use those dollars more effectively. And all we're doing is raising our budget. It's always easy to raise your budget, but for some reason, it's almost impossible to cut your budget. And this is a great example of that. I hope people take that forward. At the end of the meeting, as many of you heard, some folks that were trying to make a point about Dave Pephorn's recall stood up at the end of the meeting. You can watch the video on that. I was not necessarily happy with the way that it turned out. If you want to be on the agenda, and if you want to make a point, and you want to speak to the City Commission, by all means, put your name on the agenda. But we cannot have people simply coming up after the meeting is basically over, and let's say what it was. It was basically a shouting match. And it's not good for the City of Fargo. It's not good for public discourse. I am all for hearing from the taxpayers. That's why I do these videos. That's why I give you my phone number. That's why I give you my email. I always respond to those things. But at the City Commission meeting, we have a set agenda. We have business to do, and jumping on there out of turn really isn't acceptable. So hopefully we can resolve that. This was the recap for the May 8th meeting. And by all means, keep watching how your public officials are spending your tax dollars.